All right, guys. Hey, how's it going? This is Ryan with Ethereal Metal Webzine, and I'm here today with Kyle and Paul from Pathos and Logos. Thank you guys so much for being here today. How's everyone
Hey,
doing today?
doing good. How about yourself?
Good. We're doing good. So you guys were in South Carolina last night, right?
We were in South Carolina last night, and we are currently still in South Carolina.
Nice.
We are pulled over right now in a rest stop in a U-Haul box truck on the side of Route 26 East.
Oh,
And
26. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Nice. Well, again, I appreciate the time today. So first, I'd like to congratulate you on the release of Cult, which is a follow-up to your debut album called Glory to the Order. And since its release on June 24th, how's the response been?
Oh, it's been great, man. It's just last night we played in South Carolina for the first time, and
Yeah.
going over the records, it's one of our most successful shows for the year. So, I mean, it just kind of goes to show you the word is getting out there, and people just hate it. I don't know. I just don't understand. I'm messing around.
They're just buying them and then they're burning them while making unbroken eye contact with us. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really strange trend to have started, but we're okay with it. They buy the merch first, so that's cool.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So COVID has had such an impact on, many, many people. How are you two personally doing and holding up with your families?
Doing pretty well. I think. I mean, we've both had it mercifully. Like we've had it. Our wives have had it, and
Okay.
everybody came out of it okay. For which naturally we are tremendously grateful. I think that I speak for not just us at Pathos and Logos, but I think for a lot of people, where although it is something that you do still need to maintain diligence about and awareness about, I think maybe everybody's a little tired. This has been
Absolutely. It's been a long road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tricky, man.
Yeah,
It is.
and Paul and I are lucky in that we do live relatively close to one another. So we took as much of that time as possible, or I should say we took advantage of that time as much as possible and tried to make it as positive as we could.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Honestly, that's how we ended up with Colt. We really hunkered down and focused during that period, and it gave us more time to focus on that. And I think the results show. So
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. So to me, Pathos and Logos is much more than a band. It's a lot more than a band. It's a lot more than creating complex and deep music. Your bio states that celebrating art as a system of spirituality and magic has been a way of life for the both of you since even before Pathos and Logos started, but that the band has opened up new avenues for exploring these themes. It also states that Cult is the first foray into kind of working some of your magical concepts into your music. The Sanctum Innen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
It's the Sanctum Inan.
Inan. Okay, I apologize. The Sanctum Inan also contains a section with sigils that you've created and assigned specific rhythms to, which I found really, really intriguing as a musician myself. So the songs are kind of able to share the energy of your intentions through the music. What was the process like? And what was something like this immediately? Did it feel right away? Was it something you had to get used to?
I would say that it came to us pretty naturally. And I think that it did come to us naturally specifically because the system that we have devised that we kind of worked out predates the band. We were already kind of accustomed to framing our thoughts about it in that way. And so it felt like a kind of a natural outgrowth or outcropping.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty organic process, I would say.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So music for me personally has always been like a source of recharging and resetting, restarting. It also expels negative energy that I may take in from, the environment around me. You also talk about the keys of the songs having special meaning, and that it gives you certain energy. What kind of energy do you find when writing something in a major key versus a minor key?
What an interesting question.
that's a great question.
Well, so the specifics of what each individual key means like difficult to explain within this framework right now. But if I had just to be quick, writing in a minor key for me always kind of suggests power or force.
Sure.
I know that writing in a minor key also can convey like a certain mood, melancholy, bittersweet.
Of course, absolutely.
But on Cult specifically, it sort of naturally leaned in a heavier direction. I think it's relatively safe to say that Cult is a heavier release in certain ways than Glory.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
So that the minor key energy, by that reckoning, translated a little bit more of like the Juggernaut effect. There's a surprising amount of people in a variety of different musical genres who seem to either eschew or shy away from writing in a major key. Mm-hmm. And for my part, writing in a major key conveys like certain hope, positivity, hope,
confirmation, hope,
resolution, and we try to do a little dance between both worlds, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Thank you for that. Cult obviously has a lot going on, and it's more than just insanely great music with heavy metal, progressive metal, and other influences. There seems to be like this latent, repeating melodic theme throughout the songs. What can you share about that, and what's the meaning behind it?
The meaning behind it is to tie all the songs together, because it is a concept.
Sure.
And the idea is to basically perform the ritual from start to finish. We're at the end, the initiated has basically taken over control of their fate and has ascended, if you will.
But that's not just exactly right. That's, we don't want to dictate to anybody necessarily how they should or should not interpret it, but it would also be fair to say that we definitely intended it for ourselves to function like a ritual, which
Absolutely.
is part of the reason why we always perform Cult in its full kind of complete format. The first 4 songs of our set for quite some time now has been the 4 songs on the Cult release.
It's true.
That's great.
And as you mentioned before, we were talking about bestowing the keys of the songs with energies. It's the similar method with the theme that recurs throughout the songs, right? So we have a certain theme, and we have, if you want to call that the spell, right? That flows through each song and ties each song together and makes all 4 songs thematic.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
That's interesting that you would pick up on that, because that is something that was strategically done.
Nice.
We didn't just stumble into that one.
Ryan, to speak to this a little bit further, I thought, it's very interesting that specific subject should come up, because it's making me realize this, out of several of the interviews that we've done recently, this immediately seems to be more pointed towards the sort of occult leaning that we've got interwoven in what we're doing. And it's interesting to me because certain of the questions that you're asking, and I'm very excited by this, are difficult for me to answer or to contemplate, because not all of the feelings that we have associated with certain of the material that we've woven into the music can translate into words. It's not all like verbal. They're just kind of like intuitive internal experience. Some of them anyway. Internal experiences that just kind of, there's no real name for it, I guess.
Yeah, so that's actually something I've really liked about all of your music, whether it was from the, the first debut album up till now, is that lyrically there's not really anything happening, right? And you can kind of connect to that melodically. And so I think that's kind of dovetailing into what you're saying a little bit.
It absolutely is.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I think we also have to say that in light of the fact that we have, we didn't really seek out necessarily being a duo. This was kind of an arrival, just that it worked out like this. We did realize that we had to have something that was going to function as that mental and emotional focal point that people are accustomed to ascribing to the lyrics. With no lyrics, you've got to have something, some thread or tether that'll stand out in the forefront for people.
Nice.
And because of that, when somebody purchases the Cult, the codex, right, there is actually a narrative at the bottom of each unique piece of art that sort of kind of walks you through how to participate in the ritual, from start to finish. And because there are no lyrics, if you think about it, when you listen to a song, you know, in the traditional sense, you get a singer and they're kind of like telling you what to think, you know, like this song is about this. All right.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Being an instrumental group, it's kind of a choose your own adventure book. You can be happy, you can be sad. It can make you think of walking through the woods or parasailing or scuba diving, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so, which is great, but we do want to give people like a little narrative for those who are wondering or want insights into kind of how we interpret it, you know? So.
No, that's awesome.
We've started work. This is fun. I'm just going to take a minute here to share this with you because we're going down the rabbit hole.
Let's do it.
The cult was based off of certain of the sigils and the energy associated with the Sanctum Imam specifically.
Right. Exactly.
Here,
nice.
This is the next book that we're working on.
Okay.
Called The Liber Impermissus, playfully interpreted, the book that is not allowed.
Interesting.
And so this is so fun. This much the same way, having invented the Codex album format, we get to point at 5 tarot cards or a coffee table book design. We get to point at that and say, that's our record.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, that's a cool thing. Yeah, for sure.
This, Ryan,
is wow.
That's the beginning of album 3, right?
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that with us. That's great.
So you can see it's ripe with the sigil work. It has rhythms. It has rhythms already that we've been working on.
Right.
Actually, I shouldn't say rhythms. These would be melody lines in here. So
the recurring theme from Cult for the 3rd record, the melody that we see down here, which happens to be in the key of D flat major.
Okay,
D flat major.
Nice. Nice.
That is going to be the theme for the 3rd album that we are going to work in through the kind of the melodic narrative, you might say, that's going to make its way through all the material.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm excited to hear what it's going to come out like. So the cult opens with Initiation, right? A song growing in intensity from start to finish. And I think you kind of touched on this earlier, but you always open your live shows with this song as a way of initiating your rituals, sort of as a way opening the doors into the order.
Yes, that is correct. We always start the sets with Initiation. It's a different song. It certainly sounds different from the rest of the songs on.
That's fair to say.
From the release there, and the way it works out live, it does kind of start slow and builds, which is nice because in a live setting, I mean, unless you're doing the polar plunge, when are you just going from one extreme to the other really quick? Most people are kind of dipping their toes and stuff. Right, they slowly wade out into the water, let their body acclimate, and that's sort of what's going on with the beginning of the ritual. We don't want to come out and just hit somebody over the head with a 10-ton hammer. That's a Machine Head reference. we don't want to just come out and do that. So that song specifically is intended to kind of ease the audience into what is about to happen.
To reference certain of the allegorical imagery that we like to lean on in certain of our Instagram posts, there's the stuff that we have woven into what we're doing. You might think of it as the the opening of the gate, the preparation of the the beginning. It doesn't come right at you. Is super intense. We kind of gently enter.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And the artwork for Initiation, I have to say, beautifully but really hauntingly illustrates kind of a gateway that only can be opened with a sigil, allowing access to the 3 gifts. What does this specific sigil mean to you both, and how does it connect rhythmically?
Well, okay, so the sigil that we're describing is, let's say you've come to experience the live show. You will choose a wooden token, which we refer to as a sigil, and we have 3 of them, and it basically denotes your participation level in the order or going through the ritual, okay? So if you would to pick up a disciple token or sigil, that would basically mean that you're not an artist that is performing yet, but you are a consumer of arts.
You're a patron. You support the arts.
That's correct. And that particular person or whatever is the most important part of our club, so to speak, because without anybody taking in arts and supporting artists, what are we doing, right? Like,
Absolutely.
we're not just doing this stuff for ourselves and playing, you know, in a bathroom to a mirror, right? We want people to listen to it and give you that positive energy back. So,
not throwing any shade at anybody who is being creative exclusively for themselves.
Right.
See, Kyle simply referencing the way that we interpret it. We definitely are big believers in the idea that it's meant to be shared.
That's correct.
Of course. No, that's great.
And let's say you would receive a cleric sigil, which is the second sigil up, or the, you know, fucking purple belt or whatever. That would denote that you are a practicing artist. All right. So
okay.
You're a musician, you're a writer, you're a photographer, you're a dancer, you make pottery, performance art, any kind of, you know, light, dark art, whatever it is.
Yeah.
A practicing artist. And then at that point, we have the third and last step of the sigils, which would be the night sigil. And that would denote that you are not just participating, but also playing or performing your art at a high level and passing it on to future generations, so that our art doesn't just disappear, you know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the idea is to have people come in and join in our fun little game, right? And
that's cool.
Build the sense of community, because we're stronger together than we are apart.
Yeah, and that's so needed these days. So incredibly needed these days. It really is. Moving into the next one, so I hope I pronounced this correctly. Novitiate?
Novitiate, that's right.
Novitiate. All right, cool.
I think you've got it the best so far.
Yeah. That one is definitely, we didn't realize this going in. Surprise, novitiate isn't the word that people are used to seeing every day.
Right. No, that's cool. So it kind of starts off with like this descending jazzy-like chord pattern, leading into like an all-out brutal riffing and heart-pounding drums reminiscent of Meshuggah, right? The sigil given to the novitiate is said to help in the understanding of the three gifts of the Proxima Tavash, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Forgiveness, feeling, and freedom. Can you speak a little bit more about the inspiration behind this and the rhythms that may play a role in these given three gifts?
So the rhythms that we use specifically in novitiate have different intentions and different energy. To speak about the three gifts, this is something that now you touched down right on this, the significance, the importance in this moment right now of people like coming together and supporting one another.
Yeah.
The three gifts is an idea that we had to basically just, I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. They're symbolic gestures that we offer people, forgiveness, feeling, and freedom.
Absolutely.
We like to look at it through the lens of, if forgiveness, we like to believe that, you know, by receiving that token, by the inclusion of the participation in the order, that you are instantly forgiven something that you've always wanted to be forgiven for. Okay. That you are the feeling, you are free to feel, to either give yourself permission or to just experience an emotion or a sensation that you have always wanted. And then the freedom to release one thing inside of you that was negative, or to have the strength to cut the cord to a person or an emotion or a situation. You know, we're not priests, we're not judges, we don't really have any bona fide power to absolve anyone of anything. But it's just the kind of thing of like something we definitely believe, ironically, as an instrumental band, in the tremendous power of language. And it's a little bit like this. If no one has said to you, you are forgiven, we're saying it to you. If no one has said to you, you are free to feel this thing you have always wanted to feel, or you are now free of a negative thing that you wanted to have in your life, just saying those words, just the combination of words falling on someone's ears has power. If
that's a lot of power. Yeah.
If you have something on your heart, you know, that is upsetting you, we like to believe that even just, you know, it's our attempt to offer people something that is positive and has real meaningful value that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah, and that kind of
that's incredible. That's great.
In a way, if you wanted to tie that back to the question you had said earlier or asked earlier about COVID, people live their lives every day in just bubbles of negativity. Nobody is ever
100%.
Some people are never told good job or you're good or you're worth it or you're good just the way
exactly.
And man, like there's great power in just somebody just telling you that, you know. So we want
100%.
We want to get.
No, I appreciate how that's built into your music. That's a wonderful thing. Music touches so many people. For me personally, it always has since I was young. And to hear those thoughts being portrayed within music is just, it's a great thing. So thank you for that. Moving on to Regnum, it sees a movement kind of beyond the novitiate into full membership within the order, allowing us to take ownership of our own journeys. In a world, like I kind of said earlier, in a world that's filled with just more hate, division, destruction, being able to take ownership of your own path, I feel like personally is more important than ever. Do you feel that the rhythms locked away within this song will help encourage others to take ownership of themselves and who they want to become?
That's another great question. Fantastic question. So I guess in my opinion, yes. Okay, so the song Regnum is basically the listeners beginning to they've discovered the three gifts and they've gone through that process. And now they're absorbing the power that comes from that and having the self-agency to realize that they're becoming the master of their own fate. And so the rhythms in this song, if you listen to them, they have this kind of a movement to it. And it's intended to be like, hey man, or girl, or person, or dog, whatever, you're moving now. It's time for you to get moving, right?
That's awesome.
That's my personal take on it.
No, you're right. Shaking it off, dislodging, breaking chains.
Dislodging, that was a good word. Yeah, absolutely.
Dislodging is a good way to put it. Yeah, you're no longer static. You're beginning to move. And the riff, even though that is a wisdom riff, it has a sense of movement to it through the entire song.
Fun sidebar. Kyle just used the term wisdom.
Oh yeah.
No. That is kind of like a colloquial term that we have. Kyle and I also came up with. First off, I very much appreciate your earlier Meshuggah reference.
That is absolutely
the highest of high when it comes to confidence for us.
That's awesome.
Kyle and I very long ago worked out a proprietary system for how to write those parts.
Absolutely.
We don't know how to play any Meshuggah songs, but we know how to authentically and autonomously generate riffs and rhythms that have that same kind of angular permutating effect.
100%.
And so we refer to those as wisdom parts.
That's right.
Wisdom parts. I actually did read that in your bio as well. So that was great.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally, we have Ivdex. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Udex, actually.
How is it?
Nice. Udex. It's
Udex.
The Latin word for judge.
There you go. For judge. Okay. So it sees some really heavy riffing in a section with harsh vocals, kind of weaved into a softer but laid back section as well, which for me illustrates kind of like that final struggle that we have with ourselves when we can finally break free from those final chains that are holding us back from really growing into freedom of mind, body, and spirit. Do you see yourselves as having reached this level with cults, or is this an ever evolving level for you?
It is definitely, just as with anybody, any living being, change is an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
But I think in light of the year we've had as Pathos and Logos, that we had this discussion just last night about how the very act of doing what we're doing, we live in northern Colorado and we're on the side of Route 26 East, in South Carolina here.
Right.
The very nature of going out and doing it, breaking free and taking hold, that self-agency that Kyle had referenced before,
Yeah.
it really does change you. And although the growth will always continue, we always should be moving forward and developing and evolving. There's certain lines in the sand I feel like that we have crossed where it does feel a little bit like life will never go back quite to what it was before we started doing this.
And the point is for it not to.
That's right.
I was going to say it's probably for the best, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the album cover, as well as the artwork for the 4 songs, was done by Kyle, right? And are all really intriguing. Kyle, did you have the cover and artwork in mind as your own concept? Or is this something that you and Paul kind of both discussed as ideas and then went forward into creating them?
We definitely had, I'd be lying to you if I told you we had a concrete idea as far as, a drawing or something like that, but we definitely had very specific ideas and themes for what we were trying to get across for the album artwork. The opening of the gate and gates in particular, or portals, appear a lot throughout the artwork. The concept of the judge and the anamorphic figure that you see in the artwork at the end is another thing that was definitely premeditated, so to speak. So we didn't have a clear outline, but we were like 98% of the way there.
Nice.
The actual concepts from the Sanctum and on were it particularly in light of the struggle of coming up with the artwork and how to come up with a new album format and stuff. There were challenges that came out of that are they're obvious. You're trying to make a thing exist that doesn't exist. But it was a little bit of work. It took a little bit of doing, but having those concepts as a bedrock or a foundation kind of functioned like a North Star or a guiding light for us.
Changing gears just a little bit, now that live music is back in full swing, how does it feel to be back on stage, seeing everyone's faces and sharing music, your art and magic with everyone again?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, it really does. Especially, when we do shows like last night, we've never been to we had never been to South Carolina before. And so, to go out to places where you've never been to and just have an overwhelmingly positive response back. Who wouldn't?
It's a powerful thing, right?
It's a super powerful thing. And so, it's been great.
I think it is intrinsic to artists of any kind who perform, because not all artists perform. I had a nice conversation actually with a guitar player just last night where he plays for his own edification, and that's perfectly satisfying to him. Guy has no interest in performing. But I think for those of us who do performance art of any kind, getting out and having the opportunity to play in front of other people, it's almost like a secret vitamin that you need to take to stay stable. And that was part of what was so hard when everything was shut down with COVID, is because you weren't getting that special nutrient, if you will, and stuff goes wrong, man.
No, it does. It really does. When you can't get that, like even being around, whether it's friends that you haven't seen in a while because of COVID, or in your case, being in front of people, performing your art for people again, just being able to see that and feel that energy coming from people and not being able to have it, it's like coming off of something. It definitely is. Yeah.
It's tough, man.
No, that's great. So far live, how's the reception for Cole?
It's been overwhelmingly positive. We're on our 3rd shipment of the codex at this point.
Wow.
And so and getting close to having to order the 4th. So it's been great. We're very, very lucky and just honored to have the response that we've been getting from folks.
Now you hit the nail on the head, dude. Honored is a very good word.
No, that's awesome.
we've got a very good response from it, and we are very lucky, and we are honored because we again, we came up with it in our brain. Like, you
Right.
don't know how something that you're just kind of, hey, let's try a thing that doesn't exist or that we've not
Yeah.
tried before. You don't know how it's going to be received. There's a little bit of an energy of getting dressed in the dark when you're doing it.
Right,
And
right.
so with the positive response that we have been getting, that we continue to get, we are very grateful for. It gives you, it emboldens you. It makes you feel like you were onto something that maybe was pretty good.
No, that's awesome. So lastly, I just have, you were just in New Jersey recently at Dingbats, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, buddy.
That's right.
Yeah, I think Kyle and I were chatting about this a while back. I didn't know about you guys until about a week after it.
Oh, gotcha.
So, do you ever have any plans to come back to New York or New Jersey again in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's nothing do we have any? We don't. I don't think there's anything currently on the schedule yet, but there are talks to get back out to New York and do Brooklyn again.
Nice.
Long Island came up multiple times.
When we were in Brooklyn. That's right.
Multiple times. And Paul was born in Jersey, so
nice.
We're always gonna do what we can to play Jersey somewhere,
right?
Just so we can go back and see Pops.
Yo, you gotta go see Pops, man.
Gotta do it.
My dad.
Yep. No, that's awesome. Listen, Kyle and Paul, I just want to thank you both very much for your time today. Pathos and Logos, if you haven't checked them out yet, definitely you want to check out Cults and check out their debut album as well. Kyle and Paul, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.